At 79, Barry Gibb speaks with a softness that only time can teach. For decades, he let the music do the talking. The soaring falsetto, the perfectly layered harmonies, the unforgettable melodies. Those were his language. But behind the songs lived feelings he rarely shared, especially about his brother Robin. To the world, the Bee Gees were inseparable, three silhouettes under stage lights, bound by blood and harmony. Yet brotherhood, like music, carries both major and minor chords. Barry now reflects not from a place of stardom, but from memory, where love, regret, pride, and gratitude sit side by side. He does not speak to reopen wounds, but to acknowledge what was always there, a relationship both beautiful and complicated. His story is not about scandal or spectacle. It is about family, about what it means to grow up together, succeed together, struggle together, and eventually learn how precious that shared time truly was. The beginning of three voices, Barry Allen Crompton. Gibb was born on September 1st, 1946, on the Isle of Man, the first of the brothers who would later change pop music forever. From the beginning, music seemed less like a choice and more like a current running through the family. After moving to Manchester and later to Redcliffe, Australia, Barry, along with his younger twin brothers Robin and Morris, began discovering what their voices could do together. Harmony came naturally. It wasn't studied or calculated, it simply existed between them. As children, they performed under early names before becoming the Bee Gees, a simple nod to brothers Gibb. Barry, as the eldest, often felt a quiet responsibility. He organized rehearsals, shaped early songs, and watched over his brothers with a mixture of pride and protectiveness. Even then, their personalities were distinct. Robin was introspective and instinctive. Maurice balanced humor with musicianship, and Barry stood slightly forward, steady and determined, already sensing that music would carry them far beyond childhood dreams. Finding their sound in a changing world. By the mid-1960s, the brothers returned to England carrying ambition and little certainty. What followed was swift and life-changing. In 1967, songs filled with emotional depth introduced the Bee Gees to a global audience. Barry's songwriting revealed a maturity beyond his years, lyrics that felt reflective, sometimes wistful, always sincere. His voice anchored the harmonies, while Robin's vibrato added a haunting edge that listeners instantly recognized. Success arrived quickly, but so did pressure. The music industry was shifting, and the Bee Gees had to shift with it. In the 1970s, Barry sensed a new rhythm emerging, one that pulsed through dance floors and radio waves. Reinventing themselves wasn't easy, but it was necessary. That bold transition culminated in the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack, which didn't just top charts. It defined an era. Barry's falsetto became iconic, almost inseparable from the spirit of disco. It was reinvention at its most daring, and it changed their legacy forever. Triumph, backlash, and endurance. The extraordinary success of the disco era brought the Bee Gees worldwide acclaim, but fame has seasons. As quickly as disco rose, it fell from public favor, and criticism followed. For Barry, the backlash was confusing and painful. Music they had poured their hearts into was suddenly dismissed. Yet time has a way of restoring perspective. What was once criticized is now celebrated as groundbreaking. Barry never stopped writing. Beyond the Bee Gees, he crafted songs for artists as varied as Barbra Streisand, Diana Ross, Dolly Parton, Kenny Rogers, and Celine Dion. His gift was not only melody, but empathy, understanding how to write in a voice that felt personal to someone else. Through changing trends and shifting public opinion, Barry remained steady. Success no longer defined him, creation did. Looking back, he sees those turbulent years not as rejection, but as proof that music, like life, moves in cycles. What truly lasts is sincerity, brotherhood, harmony, and friction. Behind the global success was a bond far more intricate than audiences realized. Barry and Robin shared something deeper than collaboration. They shared origin, yet being brothers in the same band meant living without distance. Creative differences often felt personal. Barry has described Robin as intuitive and emotionally guided, someone who felt music rather than analyzed it. Barry, by contrast, approached songwriting with structure and discipline. Those differences created magic in the studio, but tension outside it. At times, disagreements stretched longer than they should have. Pride would surface, as it often does between siblings who both care deeply. Maurice frequently played the peacemaker, easing conversations and restoring balance. Despite friction, Barry never doubted Robin's brilliance. He understood that Robin's voice carried an emotional vulnerability that completed their sound. The arguments, though real, never erased the underlying love. They were part of a relationship forged not only in music, but in childhood itself. Loss that changed everything. When Morris passed away in 2003, the foundation shifted. Barry and Robin were left facing not only grief, but reflection. The absence of one brother forced the remaining two to see each other more clearly. For a time, it brought them closer. They performed again, honoring what they had built together. Yet, grief also carries reminders of time lost to misunderstandings. Barry has since acknowledged that some conflicts now seem small compared to what truly mattered. When Robin passed in 2012, the silence deepened. It was not only the loss of a collaborator, but of someone who had stood beside him since childhood stages and living room rehearsals. Barry has spoken of the strange loneliness that followed, of stepping onto a stage and feeling echoes where harmonies once lived. The music remained, but something irreplaceable was gone. What lingered most was gratitude mixed gently with regret. Words left unspoken. In later years, Barry began reflecting more openly on what he wishes he had expressed. Success can make emotions feel secondary. Tours and recordings leave little space for vulnerability. He has admitted that youth and ambition sometimes overshadowed tenderness. Looking back, he wishes he had more clearly told Robin how essential he was, not just as a voice, but as a brother. These reflections are not confessions of guilt, but acknowledgments of humanity. Few siblings articulate everything they feel in real time. It is often only in absence that clarity arrives. Barry now understands that admiration doesn't weaken leadership, and vulnerability doesn't diminish strength. The years have softened him. He speaks less about disagreements and more about shared laughter, shared dreams, and the miracle of three brothers finding harmony in the first place. In memory, the sharper edges fade, leaving behind the deeper truth of connection. Love beyond the stage. While music shaped his public life, Barry's private life gave him grounding. After a brief early marriage, he found lasting partnership with Linda, whom he married in 1970. Their marriage has spanned decades, through fame, reinvention, and profound loss. Together they raised 5 children, building a home life far removed from stage lights. Linda became his anchor, offering steadiness when success felt overwhelming and comfort when grief felt heavy. Barry often credits her with helping him remain centered, reminding him that identity is larger than applause. Living largely in Miami, surrounded by family and nature, he found a sanctuary where music could rest and reflection could grow. In many ways, the stability of his personal life allowed him to endure the unpredictable rhythm of fame. While the world saw the icon, his family saw the husband and father, a role he treasures just as deeply. Carrying the legacy forward today, when Barry performs Bee Gees songs, he does so with both pride and reverence. Each melody feels like a bridge between past and present. He no longer sings to prove anything. He sings to honor what was created together. Projects like Greenfields, where he reimagined classic songs alongside other artists, reflect a man revisiting his history with gratitude rather than urgency. Recognition, including a knighthood in 2018, affirms his contributions, yet accolades feel secondary to memory. In quiet moments, surrounded by photographs and records, Barry reflects on the journey from Isle of Man beginnings to global stages. He understands now that the real legacy is not just chart positions or awards, but connection. Between brothers, between songs and listeners, between past and present. The Bee Gees were never just a band. They were family, And though only one brother remains in harmony and memory, the trio still exists.